Steve Smith. I never really knew him, or knew about him, I should say, until the hideous phenomenon of the ugly orange vomit appeared on the political landscape. And Steve Smith, I came to find out, was a former strategist for the Republican Party, but with the advent of Trumpism and MAGAism and Christian madness and insanity and terrorism, and, in my opinion, now Christian, the whole Christian demon thing that has all of a sudden presented itself in our political landscape. Demonism from these Christians. That's when I got to start to become familiar with Steve Smith. I'm sorry, Steve Schmidt. I had a good friend named Steve Smith. If you've read my anything I've ever written or listened to this podcast over a period of time, you know that Steve Smith was a good friend. But Steve Schmidt, all of a sudden, he shows up on MSNBC as a Republican strategist who decided he was no longer a Republican, as so many Republicans have done. And I think that's great. I wonder why it took Steve Schmidt so long. I wonder why it took Max Boot so long. I wonder why it took so many of these Republican journalists and essayists and writers and political figures so long to realize that the Republican Party was a rotting corpse and was the cause of 90% of the political issues, problems in this country. But the conversion of so many of these conservatives has occurred. Not that they have given up their conservative ideas, but I think they've realized how sick and perverted the whole thing, the whole mess has become, thanks to Trump and the red hat wearing assholes who mouth breathe and shriek and goose each other at his Nazi rallies. So Steve Smith has a site now at Substack.com. That's where you find Judd Legum, among others, popular information. So I got an email from that publication introducing me to Steve Smith's current essay. And I have to share it with you. As you know, I will occasionally pick pieces, whether it's from Tom Hartman or Tom Engelhardt or, in this case, Steve Schmidt, and just read word for word what they've written because I find it so intriguing. So, this is an open letter to Elon Musk from Steve Schmidt. And he has a little note at the beginning of what he has written. The note is this. He writes, "The automated audio recording of my letter to Elon was insufficient. So I recorded it in New Jersey English. New Jersey English, from the accent to the colorful colloquialism, is the most beautiful form of the English language, in my humble opinion. Dear Elon, the United States of America is the oldest and most powerful republic in world history. Though you were not born on American soil, you have been welcomed to this land and became an American citizen. It does not matter how much wealth you possess. Your greatest treasure is your American citizenship. It binds and obligates you as part of a continuum that is entrusted to leave the country a bit better off for the next generation. America is a singular and exceptional nation. Freedom has allowed your genius to flourish. Freedom has allowed your dreams to become reality. You have inspired millions of people around the world and changed the fabric of society with your inventions and companies. You are the wealthiest man in the world as a result. Good for you. The United States is comprised of 50 states. Each is unique and has made vital contributions to the nation. Each has rendered service to the greater whole and has contributed something unique to the national character. I am from New Jersey, the Garden State, home of the Jets, Giants, Statue of Liberty, and the carpet-bagging hustler Dr. Oz. I do not claim to speak for the people of New Jersey in addressing you, but rather to summon their indomitable spirit and directness to communicate something directly to you that is deeply necessary and long overdue. I had hoped that someone else would do this, but it is clear to me that that is not going to happen. Before I do, though, I would like to talk about this unique moment in American history and elaborate a bit more on the previous point about each state's unique and vital contributions to America. For example, Ohio gave the United States the generals who crushed the Confederacy and the steel that crushed the Nazis. When America needed a man to land on the moon, it was an Ohio man. When NASA was aiming for the moon, another Ohio man named John Glenn paved the way. Ohio contributes steadiness and character to the nation. It makes sense that the most lethal class of warships in human history are named for Ohio. It sends a message. Though I love Ohio, I'm not from there. Like I said, I'm from New Jersey. And steely steadiness and friendliness aren't necessarily our forte. Though we cannot be Ohioans, Californians, or Texans, people from New Jersey do have something to contribute. After all, don't we all want to contribute and play our part? It got me thinking that perhaps you might benefit from some feedback. After all, feedback is a gift. The people of New Jersey tend to be direct. This is our gift to America. Directness is required in this moment of national crisis and growing political violence. We must speak directly. I thought I would apply the state character towards an attempt to help you. I want to share something with you, and I say this with the deepest affection, kindness, and sincerity. Usually, New Jersey males encounter this advice in their early teenage years. It helps form character. Here is the advice. Shut the fuck up. Sit the fuck down. Stop talking. Because you are a genius in one thing does not make you an expert in anything else. Being rich doesn't make you an expert in everything. America would have been better off if your ambitions were confined to amazing vertical rocket landings, but alas, that was not to be. The richer you have become, the more delusional you have become. Nobody tells you no. No one tells you to shut the fuck up. That is a national tragedy. Like I said, each state contributes something unique. If you had been fortunate enough to spend time in the Garden State, someone would have undoubtedly said this to you years ago. But behind schedule is never a reason to procrastinate. So the message is now just catching up to you. I'll say it again. We do that in New Jersey. Shut the fuck up. For example, why are you making peace proposals between the Russians and Ukrainians? You seem almost completely ignorant of world history and what is happening in Ukraine. There's a path to peace, but it isn't the one you suggest. There will be peace in Ukraine when there are no more Russian soldiers on Ukrainian soil to kill. Your gamesmanship with the Starlink satellite service caused by your childish snit over the appropriate laughter and contempt directed at you because of your proposal was reprehensible. It revealed an aspect of your perpetual character, your petulant character and arrogance that you seem intent on sharing more fulsomely with all of the world's people. By the way, I thought your Twitter PR statements about the platform was delusional, in which you stated that, quoting you, Twitter is the digital town square where matters vital to the future of humanity are debated. End quote. Your paternalism is delusional. Your talk of your gift to humanity is delusional. Twitter is a hellhole and you'll make it worse. On Sunday, you further revealed your character and abused the public when you tweeted out a conspiracy theory on your rancid platform. Twitter isn't the town square. It's a cesspool owned by an asshole. It's not real life, though it makes real life worse. That's what you did yesterday when you shared disinformation to your 100 million plus Twitter followers. You smeared an 82-year-old man who was beaten with a hammer and had surgery because of a political attack on him by a violent criminal extremist incited by the violent MAGA movement against the third highest ranked official in the U.S. government. Fuck you. Lastly, because you seem so profoundly ignorant of history, politics, geography, culture, and the United States, I'm going to tell you about two men that remind me of you. You are likely to be pristine case studies for how you will be remembered one day. Henry Ford was a genius. He isn't remembered for that, though. He's remembered as a virulent anti-Semite whom Hitler venerated with a photo on his desk. The so-called High Court of History rendered a verdict, and it was harsh. Fuck Henry Ford. His achievements weren't remembered. His character was. It stunk. Charles Lindbergh was a brilliant and pioneering aviator who was also a fascist. That is what he's remembered for. Get it? Life is a character test, Elon. You are failing it. All the money in the world can't fix that. I hope you can understand that. Talk less and listen more should be tattooed on your forehead. It won't be, but maybe this can help. All the best, Steve. Steve Schmidt, writing at his site on Substack.com. Sit down. Shut the fuck up. Yeah. Yeah, I was brought up in Ohio, not New Jersey, but my good friend, now deceased, Steve Smith, stand-up comic, was brought up in New Jersey. I remember the first time I heard him say that to me. Malloy, you need to sit down. Shut the fuck up, man. Come on. Which is one of the reasons when I read this on his site, it reminded me of Steve Smith, who I miss dearly. Sit down. Shut the fuck up. Hi, Truth Seekers. Mike Malloy here. As you know, we've switched formats and are now broadcast exclusively on the Progressive Voices Network. So that means you get fewer program interruptions, no corporate commercials, and lots of profanity. But our format change also means some of our radio listeners no longer hear the program. It's been a while since I mentioned our podcasts, so you may have forgotten that there is a way to listen to this program anytime you need a good dose of screaming. Visit MikeMalloy.com and subscribe to our podcasts. As a podcast subscriber, you can download the program to your mobile device and take me with you wherever you go. And if you have a friend who needs a dose of truth-seeking, you can give a gift subscription as well. That's MikeMalloy.com, and never miss a minute of the uncensored fun and frivolity.